What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran, and today I want to talk to you about something that's like long overdue. First of all, if you're new here, welcome. For those who know me and you've been listening to my antics, this is long overdue, so I apologize in advance. But today I want to talk to you guys about the top 10 things you need to get started in janitorial. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking about this because y'all know, if you've been following me, that how I feel about janitorial. It's a love and hate relationship, but we're gonna get into it right after the intro. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. So today, in discussing janitorial, I'm probably gonna flip between being like excited and mad at the same time, so just bear with me on this. But I want to discuss the top 10 things you need to get started in janitorial, because a lot of people are starting janitorial without really knowing like what they need. And baby, if I can rewind time, well, I'm not going to say I wouldn't do janitorial, but I would have been happy if someone had laid out the foundation of janitorial for me so I could just make better decisions, because janitorial is one of those ones. It's one of those ones that'll make you rethink everything in life, right? And that's if you ever win, because it's really, sometimes it's not easy to win those contracts. So starting off with number one is you need a crew. And by crew, it may not be your mama them, your sister them. Like, the thing that people don't realize is that cleaning is so subjective. I'm talking, cleaning is subjective. So we're not talking about pressure washing where there's a before and after. We're not talking about other type of cleaning. We're talking about like cleaning, and residential is still not even sometimes as challenging as some of the commercial clean that we do, like the turnkey clean or hotel clean that we do, where it has to be perfect. Because just think about anytime you're going into a hotel and you see anything, you're like, oh, this whole thing is filthy. I can't deal. It takes a lot to clean something from top to bottom, especially when it comes from the depths of dirt, like especially some of these colleges that we've had to clean. Oh, baby, rough. So a good crew will make sure that it'll operate smoothly. And so it's really good to build that crew ahead of time, because you want people to have a synergy. And I don't know how you're going to be able to do that, because if you don't have any projects, like Sheena, how can I put the crew together if I don't have any projects? You got to find out a way to maybe give them some training or something. If you're going to fully focus on janitorial and that's going to be your thing, finding a crew is so crucial, because I just hear so many stories, including my own stories, where it starts off one way and then people quit and then it just messes up everything. And the supervisor ended up quitting, or you had to fire them, and now there's no one to supervise the people. And because of people not being supervised, they miss stuff. And then, it just, all the shit rolls downhill, right? Like, it just ends up being a problem for you. So having a competent crew is really, really important. And what may work in your benefit is subcontracting that out. Now, you may want to hire internally for training purposes. Even if there's a subcontract, if you're subcontracting that out to another cleaning company, you still want to do your own training, because I swear, people swear they can clean. I'm talking, there's been people that have come to me and said, I've been cleaning for 20 years. I don't need you to tell me how to clean. That's great. We're going through this training, because they may decide at that moment that they don't even want to do it anymore. Like, they may not want to do cleaning the walls. Like, there's contracts where you have to clean the wall and you have to get every single crumb out of the corner. Like, and a lot of people they're not used to cleaning that, especially if they've done residential. If you have anyone come to you saying they only did residential, you may want to raise your eyebrow and just they're not usually cleaning something that's empty. And so for the purposes of this video, I'm talking about super clean, where it's an empty building or empty room or empty something, so you can see everything. And it's not just when you do residential cleaning versus commercial cleaning, not cubicle commercial, but where there's nothing in that facility, is different, because you can see everything. Now, if you clean in residential, you're just wiping around stuff and you're not moving everything. But like colleges and stuff like that, you're going to be doing a whole lot of cleaning, more than you've probably even ever done in your own house, just being honest. So a good crew will help you try to, especially if you're subbing it out, I would actually prefer you subbing it out with a company that already has the experience. Solo cleaners are cool too, but you just want to make sure that you have a good, solid crew. The number two thing is good supplies. Oh my goodness. Talk about saving time. You will not save time or money by skimping out with bad supplies. You need good supplies, powerful products. Now, a lot of contracts are going to have you use some of those hospital grade, and I can put up a picture where it's like no smell, no nothing, but I'm sorry, those are some weak products, a lot of those, but that's like the common thing that these agencies will put on the proposal. So a lot of times if we see that in the solicitation that they want this specific type of product, and I know for a fact that thing does not work, I usually ask if that can be, if there's exceptions to the cleaning, because I don't want to sit here and scrub the tub to death because of this non-powerful product. So there has to be some kind of compromise, and there's still a lot of good, powerful products to use that don't have a strong smell or have no smell at all, that are way more powerful than some of these like medical grade or kitchen grade products. Now, kitchen grade products are a little, you know, a kitchen is usually gonna have like grease and gunk. It's not gonna usually have like filth. So, I mean, typically it's not supposed to, because it should be kept up every day compared to like, you know, a bathroom with a college students or something like that, where it's like you got to go deep into the surface of that item, of that table, of that whatever it is. So, you know, just always ask for like an exception, or is there any room for that? Because a lot of agencies do not want you to use bleach. You cannot use bleach. I can't even remember if I've ever been able to use bleach on any janitorial contract for, I guess, a varying amount of reasons. It's, you know, it's dangerous. And the same thing with ammonia. And you know, there's some people out here, and I'm just going to say this because there was a person that I met that didn't know this, but you cannot mix bleach and ammonia. I thought everyone knew that, but I met someone who didn't know that, and they literally mixed it, and they like literally almost died. So just so those who don't know, you cannot mix bleach and ammonia. That's a side note. But anyways, supplies will make a huge difference. The same thing with paper products, right? A good vacuum, a good broom. I'm telling you, it's really good for you to go out there on your own projects and not just like let someone else do it, because they may be working not efficient, and then it wastes time, money, energy, all those things, and they're like suffering with a little tiny vacuum when you can get them a high-powered vacuum and they'll get done in half the time. And the same thing with paper products. I use Viva, I can't even, like, in my own house, I can't have regular paper towel. Like, you know, you just get to that level where you're like, I refuse. But Viva is like the best paper towel. Now, it's very pricey comparatively, but then if you kind of match it to how much paper towel you would use with the cheapy stuff, then it's like, just go with the Viva. It's more expensive, but you can wipe up that whole thing with paper towels. And I honestly like to clean with paper towels. I don't like to use rags, and I know that's kind of wasteful, but especially when you're cleaning the bathroom, I just do not like using a rag in the bathroom. Ugh! I just feel like the dirt is just being dragged everywhere. I don't care what product I use. I like to use paper towel, throw it away, paper towel, throw it away. So it's like a clean surface. That's just me. I don't know. That's a Sheena-ism, right? So supplies is super important. Like I said, vacuums, like I didn't even understand how important it was to have a good vacuum until we had to clean 1,000 dorm rooms. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I like vacuuming, but not when it's, you know, to the detriment of your spirit, because you're vacuuming over and over and over. Sometimes they break down, and then you're like, oh my God, I wish I had a good vacuum. Anyway, so those are the type of things that you have to kind of be aware of. Equipment and supplies is very, very important. So number 3 is your pricing. In janitorial, most of the time, it's going to be, I hate to use this term, but like bottom feeder, because, oh, that's such a mean thing to say, but it's so true, because a lot of when you go to site visits for janitorial, chances are there's going to be a lot of companies there. And usually the agency is going to go with the lowest price. Now, if you're coming in as a multi-type contract where they need this, and then janitorial, sometimes it's a little bit better with that. And also with the janitorial contracts, you usually have to price in your supplies. Like what? And that supplies may mean, like say it's a multi-year contract, multi-month, whatever, which, you know, typically they are, not all the time. They want you to keep supplies in a supply room throughout the whole contract. So you got to worry about people stealing. I mean, some of us have stolen from our jobs. But that's coming out of your pocket now. You as a contractor, that's coming out of your pocket. So, you know, you have to be wary of that. And also it's like, that can be very expensive. What if there's a lot of people in there using toilet paper just nonstop, like they're using it way more than they should? There's no way for you to regulate that. So you also have to factor that in. That's cutting into your profit. That's cutting into your overhead. So it's really important to kind of keep an eye on your pricing, because usually they're going to go for your lowest bidder. Now, I will say there have been a couple of times for us and for other people that I've helped where that agency had been burned. Okay. They went with the lowest bidder, and it was a terrible experience. So they were willing to pay more for better quality. So your main thing is to provide value. I'm going to get into value later on, but basically your pricing is going to make or break your contract. I mean, if it's only going to be an extra $50 $1,000 a month, like in profit, like is it even worth it? Because sometimes, especially some of the smaller ones, if someone calls out, who gonna go and you know, take care of that contract? Now you gotta find somebody else, usually pay them more. It's last minute, it's hectic, chaos, or it's gonna be you that goes out there and has to clean whatever it is. So pricing is super important. You gotta factor in all the known unknowns, and then there's gonna be a lot of unknowns, especially if you're just getting started. And then you have to deal with the person not being good. Like, what if the agency is just not happy with them, and now you gotta find somebody else, and it can be a lot. It can be a lot. You can do it. You can do it. But I'm just saying, make sure you're paying attention to your pricing. And you may say, I don't care if I never win a janitorial contract, I'll never come down in my pricing. And I think that's very fair. And so when it comes to pricing here in Georgia, it's going to be different everywhere. So don't come for me in no comments, right? But typically with janitorial, I'm almost scared to say this. It's 2024, but typically, if you're talking about the lowest end possible, you're looking at starting at 10 cents per square foot. I know that sounds crazy. 10 cents really to like 30 cents per square foot. And then you have to factor in how many days a week it has to be done, blah, blah, blah. But if you're talking, let's just pretend like it's a one and done right now. And they're like, hey, we have a 1,000,000 square foot building and we need the whole thing clean from top to bottom. And let's just say that they provide the supplies, because that makes a huge difference whether they do or not. But let's just say they provide the supplies, 1,000,000 square feet. You're looking at 10 cents is super. I'm talking, that's the almost lower than the bottom. But I've seen lower. I've seen lower than 10 cents. I've seen 4 cents per square foot. And I don't know how in the world they're able to do that, but I've seen that. And so just keep that in mind, that if you're looking at something that's like 1,000 square feet and it's 10 cents per square foot and it's a one and done, that may not be worth your time. Like, we were looking at one, I think it was in Puerto Rico or Hawaii. And I was like, bet I'm about to go to Hawaii, like I'm about to go to Puerto Rico, wherever it was, and it was like 1,000 square feet. I'm like, that's not even worth the plane ride. You know what I'm saying? It was like once a week. So, you know, just be mindful of the pricing, because you got to include all the things that you probably weren't thinking about, including those things I just said. So the next thing would be a great supervisor. What you don't want to be is a supervisor of these people cleaning, because it becomes so stressful, especially like that little balance between you being the owner of the company, you being the the hirer and the firer. And then this is your contract. This is your baby. This is your business. So you might take this stuff personally. Like, this person ain't even cleaning. Like, what have they been doing? They're not even cleaning. Like, I'm about to go all the way off. But if you have a supervisor in between, then it kind of makes, if you can afford it, because, there's a whole bunch of, things with that. And that's why I suggested earlier for you to have a company to subcontract the work to. So they're like essentially the supervisor, and it's up to them to make sure that the people are doing what they're supposed to do, whether it's one person or them or whatever. And so then of course you check after them. But a good supervisor makes a huge difference in your sanity, because you don't want to have to be the person that's checking every single day that they're cleaning, and you'll have someone that can be on salary or on site to check all the things. And then that filter becomes a little less stressful for you when you walk into a building. You're like, oh my God, this person hasn't done anything, So just, that's one thing that I found has worked for me, because I can be a little volatile, because this is my baby. This is my business. Foresight Industries is my baby. I built it from nothing. So I want to make sure that this is done right to the standards. I have a high standard anyway, but even if the standard of the agency is higher, that's where we go in. We're not going to just say, oh, well, we're just going to do it like this, because even if it's a lower dollar amount that we're getting paid, like less than I want to, I still want to meet a high standard, because things can happen. They could say, we want to give you, more money on the contract, or we want to add these things so you can have more money on this contract every month. I've had that happen with a few contracts where they're like, oh, let's raise this price because you guys are doing such a great job. So you want to make sure that you're always doing the best job, even if you're only getting paid a little bit of money. I know it's hard. I know. For those who are worked in janitorial already, it's hard, but I just want to make sure. Another thing is experts. So that's the number 5 thing, is experts. And it kind of goes back to having like a good crew and having a good supervisor. But experts basically is like real professional cleaners. Yo, I keep harping on this because everyone swears they can clean. I never knew that this was going to be what janitorial was going to be like. I've seen where we had to clean a dorm, And the person literally used the same rag for the whole apartment, yo. And they started at the bathroom. So guess what that meant? That meant there was a pubic hair in the microwave. Yes, that's a real story. That's a real story. Just, you can tell. It wasn't like, oh, it was just in there. It was like, you could tell it was wiped. The rag residue with the hair is absolutely disgusting. Oh my God, totally disgusting. But that's what happens. And that's another thing. Like, even some agencies will put in the solicitation. This is how bad it is. They'll put in the solicitation, do not use the same rag for all parts of this building or all parts of this room or this apartment. That's how bad it is, because people are just trying to like get done quick. No. Take your time and do it right. Now, as you get better with cleaning, you'll move faster, but you gotta do it right. I don't care how long it takes. You gotta do it right, because what happens if you skimp and you're moving fast and you don't do it right, you got to go back anyway. So do it right the first time, even if it takes you a little longer. The agency will usually work with you. Yeah, pick up the pace, but they'll usually work with you as long as you're doing it and it's perfect. That's all we ask. That's all anyone asks for. Even if it's your own house where you're getting work done or getting, you're having your house cleaned, whatever the case may be, you want that thing done right. So having the experts where they know what to look for, their standards are high, makes a huge difference. So the next thing is, talked about a little bit earlier, is training. Have your own training program, okay? This is key. I thought I didn't need to do this at the beginning, y'all. I didn't think I had to do this. But again, everyone has their own process of what they do. So if you set out the training from moment one, won't be any question. I don't care how you feel about me giving you training and you grown and you've been cleaning for 20 years. I don't care. We're about to do this training. And it's, if you can, and you can't always do this, but just put in your mind, if you're able to do this with the training, is in that particular facility where you're going to be, having these workers, you're going through every single thing. So let's just say we start from, the left side of the building to the right side. Okay, this is what we're going to do with the walls. We're going to clean the walls like this using this product. This is what we're going to do with the floors. This is the product we're going to use. This is what we're going to do. And usually when you work cleaning, it's top to bottom, right? So you knock everything off the top, it goes down to the bottom like that. That's how cleaning is supposed to be done, okay? Spot cleaning, whatever it is, whatever the case may be, you always go from top to bottom. But having that training in place saves you so much time, because what I used to do is just set people off into the wilderness, the fictitious wilderness, and expect them to clean. They don't do it right, so I'm spending all of my time with go backs, all of my time retraining, and so I should have just did the training from the first 2 hours of us entering into that facility, and it would have saved days of going back and pointing things out and writing sticky notes and all that kind of stuff. It's like, nah, I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do, and then there won't be any questions. So training is like, have your own internal training plan. Even if you have a sub, I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. And just don't let them, just like you go to anything else and they making you any job or whatever, they're making you comply with their standards. That's exactly what you want to do. If they want the job, they're going to do the training. Point blank, period. If you don't like it, door is that away. The door is that away, okay? The next thing is a upsell strategy. So again, going back to pricing a little bit, you may have a contract that you don't have a lot of profit on. That's okay. It's okay. It's all a learning lesson, right? So you have a contract that, even if it does have a lot of profit, always try to sell something else. Like, for example, we have a contract with the entire state of Delaware. So with us, if there's a new building that we acquire, because it's all vendor based, it's like an IDIQ kind of thing where they need, different vendors to pick from or whatever. So if we get a new building, then we usually offer a deep clean. So the first clean is going to be a deep clean, and then we do the regular services. So that's a tactic that, well, it's not even a tactic. It's usually they want that. They just don't know. They just didn't ask. And so you're asking them, do you want a deep clean first before we take over these services? There's a reason why they're going with you in the first place. That previous service is probably not that great. And so we want to get it to a standard and then keep that standard moving forward, just maintaining. Upselling, the same thing I had mentioned in a previous video, even outside of cleaning, when we did the floor repair, is we upsold by adding the floor waxing services. So we just like, okay, we're replacing the floor, but guess what? It would probably be a good idea to put the floor wax on there so it can look nice and pretty. So we actually offer that too for janitorial. Like, do you want floor waxing services? Do you want, some kind of sanitation, especially during COVID? We would add like different sanitation, extra sanitation for whatever building we were working on. So just upsell strategy to just get more business in the door, especially if you have a contract that's a little lower than what you wanted, what you anticipated. offer those services. What are they gonna say? No? So what? Then you just ask the following month. Maybe month number 5, they might want that service. So it's no big deal. You just ask, is there anything else we can provide? Do you guys want carpet cleaning? Do you want, document shredding, removal, like I said in one of my other videos, like something like that, where you can just add more to the cleaning contract to give yourself a little extra boost for that particular month, for example. So the next one would be a system. This can be a manual system. This can be a software system. I would always suggest some type of electronic system. We use Slack and Asana, but we use that for everything. But as far as when we are got people in the field, Slack has been what we typically use. Now we may have to use another system internal to the agency, but communication, right? You don't want the text especially when you have a lot of projects, doing text can be so stressful. And if you have a staff or you have like an admin or there's more than 2 people conversing, then there needs to be some other system to track different things, because your text may not, whatever, anything could happen with the text. I think anything can happen with anything electronic, but just having some sort of tracking mechanism, because especially if you have several things within this one thing, you'll quickly lose track. You can lose track in one day of, what do they say about this? Like those phone calls and stuff like that. I don't even understand how people can just operate off of phone calls. I'm like, I don't know how many projects y'all have, but I cannot operate off phone call. I will forget. The next call I get, I'm going to probably forget what you said the previous phone call. So having a good system in place, like I said, I use Slack and we use Asana as well. Some people use Monday. Monday is pretty good for like those type of projects where you're bringing in subs. I personally don't like Monday. I don't know. I don't know why I don't like it. But I don't. And it might be, maybe it's a little cheaper to bring in multiple people. I don't know. But anyway, Slack is probably one of the better ones. And then you can have some kind of internal system to track, use a good old fashioned spreadsheet. Google Sheets, it's free, right? And everyone can share the information into this spreadsheet. And so then it won't have to be like, what do they say about this, and this? You save yourself so much stress and so much anguish, especially when it comes to invoicing. Because if you're doing multiple things and it's not just I'm billing you at the end of the month and you have to show proof of timesheets or any type of login or any type of extra services, you definitely need to have some kind of tracking mechanism. So the next thing would be, number 9 would be value. So providing value is huge. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but basically with value, like I said, there are some agencies that have been burned where they hired the lowest bidder and now they will never do that again. So you're providing value. So what does value look like? Value can come in, look, we're using green products, and sometimes agencies want that depending on what agency it is. You're like, we use green products. So you want to kind of voice that ahead of time. Like if you're willing and able to use green products, or you already use green products, put that in your capability statement. Put that in your proposal. If you're certified in some sort of way with an agency that has sustainability or uses green products, you can put that in there. And that might be very valuable to that agency. For best value, you can say that you have a quality control plan. So that's value. That's valuable. They want to know that you pre-thought the things that can go wrong, honestly, because at this point, after COVID, a lot of agencies have hired contractors to do their cleaning. Like that's just kind of what it is now. A lot of times before they were doing this stuff internally, but they want to see a contingency plan, a quality control plan. In case something happens, they want to know what you're going to do about it. Like who they're going to call. And a lot of times they'll have that in the solicitation as well, is who's the first supervisor we call and they need to respond within 2 hours. Who's the next person up? And so if you're providing that plan, that might be like, wow, that's exactly what we wanted and what we needed. And if you've ever looked in like a airport bathroom on the back of the door, or a certain like restaurants, they'll show like who checked the bathroom at the time, their initial, to make sure that the bathroom was, up to standard or whatever. Like agencies want to see stuff like that, depending on what you're doing. Now, if it's a once a week office clean, you may not need something that deep, but it's good to have and to know. And just in case you end up doing a larger project, like we've had to use it multiple times and we've won a couple of contracts specifically on our quality control plan. And so in my course, I do provide our specific exact quality control plan for janitorial. So if you join the course, you get that. But anyways, providing value is super important and want to show that. And that's one of the ways that you can get around the lowest bidder thing, because they may be going for the lowest bidder, but then because you're providing value, they're like, well, you know what, let's not go with the lowest bidder because this person went above and beyond by providing exactly what they want to do and tailor it toward that agency. Don't just throw it out there. Tailor it toward that agency, saying, because you have 10,000 employees, we want to ensure that we are cleaning, I don't know, whatever it is, cleaning twice a day to avoid any type of issues that may have occurred in the morning. We want to ensure that we take care in the afternoon, something like that. But it's going to be longer than that unless there's a restriction on the solicitation. Just make sure you understand how many documents they're allowing in the solicitation, because they may not want all that in there. But you can even put quality control plan available upon request or something like that. So that's free game I'm giving y'all. That's a big one. That's like major right there that I just gave y'all. So you're welcome. So the last thing when it comes to working in janitorial is you got to have patience. That's probably the most patience I've ever had to use, because again, janitorial is subjective. So you got the agency side that's going to get on your nerves. The employee side is going to get on your nerves. The subcontractor side is going to get on your nerves. Who you buying the product from is going to get on your nerves. It could be so lucrative, and it's like people think it's easy because it's like anyone can clean, but everyone can't clean well. So you have to have the patience to know, okay, I have to just make sure I'm following my steps, like providing value, providing the training, hiring good people, hiring a good supervisor, hiring a good crew to make sure that I can avoid all the stress that janitorial might bring. Now, I don't want y'all to be like, dang, Sheena, you making me not want to do janitorial. That's not my goal. My goal is to let you know everything you need to know about it, because you can do it. Just make sure you're paying attention to these 10 things that I mapped out, because it's important that you don't go in there messing it up for everybody else. So I always talk about that. So making sure you have patience, or putting things in place so where the patience won't need to be tested on a regular basis. Follow the rules. Follow the rules that I'm giving you so you can make this a pleasurable and easy and lucrative experience for you and whoever you're helping and whoever your team is, and especially for the agency, because they're the ones that matter, right? So again, I want to share the top 10 things to look for when you're doing janitorial. Since janitorial is so near and dear to my heart, because we can't seem to get away from it. So it's all good though. It's all good. Like, it's okay. We're going to continue to do it as long as the money makes sense. So right now we're only bidding on anything. Well, I won't say $1 million above. We were saying $1 million and above, but if it's 500,000, I think I might be able to do that depending on where it's located. Now, if it's in daggone Philly or, up north somewhere, because we're in Georgia, then I might be like, it needs to be $1 million, because it got to make sense. But of course, my course teaches about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. I have a whole separate section for my veterans, and I have a startup section for those who maybe not in business yet, or you want to just make sure you follow the correct steps in order to register your business in the varying states and on the federal side. And the course comes with mentorship, which means that you have access to me to ask questions. And when you're trying to go through a bid, we go line by line. You can schedule calls with me. It's all of that. It's all of that in a bag of chips, right? And then we have our GovCon Moneymakers community, which is 100% free. We have like almost 1,000 people in the group now, and we're sharing stories, helping each other out, making connections, making some money together. So make sure you check it out. The link is in the description. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.